Monday's kicked off proper and we're full steam into Celtic's pre-season build-up. The squad are heading over to Ireland today, gearing up for their clash with Cork City tomorrow, in what will be just our second friendly of this early preparation period. The core group who featured last Friday will make the journey with perhaps one or two fresh faces sprinkled in. Over the weekend, the majority of players have made their way back to Lennoxtown. It's been a gradual return, but now everyone's tracking in, which sets us up to talk both training and the transfer market, which, let me tell you, is only heating up more by the day. Let's dive into the transfer update first. Celtic have brought in 5 new faces so far. Kieran Tierney slots straight in as a first-team left back. Ross Doohan arrives to offer depth in goal, likely slotting in as the third keeper. Benjamin Negrin looks ready to compete as a starter. And Callum Osman represents a talent for the future, someone who could surprise us. Finally, Hayato Amamura, another long-term prospect, could well head out on loan once he settles. Deals have been confirmed for each, no vague whispers this time. And while no income rivals are immediate, there are whispers of fresh targets looming. It appears Nicholas Kuhn is on his way out this week, with a move likely to be confirmed imminently. Rumor has it he underwent a medical today. Losing a player of his caliber who delivered in Europe last season leaves a sizable hole. Replacing him won't be easy. One name on the radar is Isak Janssen, who actually followed Kuhn's path back in January 2 years ago. Janssen spent 6 months on loan, then made a permanent switch to Rapid Vienna, where he netted 9 goals and 6 assists across 33 outings, though a knee injury sidelined him for a stretch. The Scottish Sun report suggests Celtic are considering the 23-year-old Swedish winger. He's a right-footer who can play on either flank and carry some pace. Yet despite his rise and evident promise, I can't shake the feeling it doesn't light me up like Kuhn did. If we've received around £17 million, surely we could aim higher to snag a replacement who can deliver at Champions League level from day one. Janssen might be that player, but my gut says we could do better. Still, his profile ticks a lot of boxes, and never count out the influence of past transfer patterns. Shifting gears to defense, another name doing the rounds is Justin Dees, a 25-year-old Dutch centre-back. According to Stephen McGaughy in the Herald, Celtic are considering a move. That phrase is cautious, but it indicates genuine interest. Dees is a left-footed central defender, standing around 6'3" or 4, with experience across Europe in the Netherlands, youth systems, Croatia and Portugal. He's believed to be going for about £3 million, but here's the thing: we want a standout piece to complete a Champions League caliber backline. Alongside Alistair Johnston on the right, Tierney left, and the central pair yet to be fully defined. Austin Trusty had moments last year, but still feels like a gamble rather than a guarantee. Signing someone like Dees could give us proper balance and strength. Maybe the club sees in Amamura and Trusty that room for growth is there in manager. Brendan Rodgers did mention wanting to bring another centre back, and hopefully domestically sourced, if possible. Whether Dees fits that mold remains to be seen, but let's hope for a name that sparks the same confidence as a Van Dijk did for Liverpool fans. Elsewhere, some movement to La Gabriela is set to join Brager for around £2 million in Washington. Nerobski has moved to Hanover on loan with an option to buy. Stephen Welch is expected to head back to Belgium, all of which leaves us in a position to bolster the spine of the team with a strong left centre back. In addition, Mikey Johnson is closing in on a £5 million move to Flamengo in Brazil. An eye-watering sum, but well-deserved, and Kyogo Furuhashi has signed for Birmingham City, linking back up with our former assistant Chris Davies. From Spurs, Birmingham fans will be pleased. Kyogo has the talent to drive them up the championship. It's a bit mental to see him end up in England's second tier after such an impressive campaign, but there's every chance he'll propel them to promotion next season. Meanwhile, back at Lennoxtown, international players are now filtering in. Tierney, Negrin, Callum McGregor and others have already started training over the weekend. And surprising fans, Marco Tilio has rejoined the fold for pre-season. On Saturday, training was split into the blocks. The first group had Rio Hitati, Tilio, Hunyangi, Days, Nida Osmond and Negrin. The second batch featured Tierney, James Forrest, Amamura and Hayato Anthony Ralston and Liam Scales. Expect those 11 to be in the squad for Saturday's closed-door friendly in Portugal. As for the rest, keep in mind keepers like Kasper Schmeichel and Vasilis Barkas may simply not have been featured in recent clips. Alistair Johnston has yet to appear back, and the likes of Paddy McNair, Borna Barisic and Lewis Morgan are outstanding. Cameron Carter-Vickers is back training solo following summer knee surgery, and may well feature in Portugal too. It's Clear that recovery timelines differ hugely across the squad. McGregor has had the summer off since the Scottish Cup final, while Johnston and others have barely paused from club or international duties. Lent access back is staggered, and by the time they're in Portugal, we'll likely see the bulk of the squad together. Everything's tracking well, or should I say formidable. That's what Celtic named their season highlight video, celebrating 4 titles in a row. I must admit, when I first watched the clip, I wasn't sure why it was called that, until the penny dropped, alluding to the magic of those 4 consecutive wins. The documentary runs for an hour, yet only around 5 minutes of it give us behind-the-scenes access. I'd love even more insight, especially club-side footage from dressing rooms before and after key matches, including the tougher losses like the cup final or European setbacks. That glance behind the curtain is when content really comes alive. Still, this second edition feels like a leap forward. We glimpsed our captain Callum McGregor pumping up the team by saying, "We've got so much quality in this room, and it's quality they don't have. We are the top team, so play without fear." Those insights demonstrate the mentality that drives the titles. Who wouldn't want more of that raw footage? We've also had moments that show personality. San Alo's pre-derby intensity, Brendan Rodgers using boring league frustration as motivation, and Anthony Ralston's impromptu rendition of "Hey Soul Sister" after winning the league on the players' bus. Those are the kind of small glimpses that knit supporters to the heart of the team, though I wouldn't fault the polished finish too much. It's Celtic's production after all. Despite glossing over some defeats, it's still an enjoyable watch, and the club appears to be warming to giving fans a peek inside the dressing room. I'd love to see them push on even further next year. So with the preseason now rolling on, and the bulk of the squad back at Lennox Town, there's this clear shift in energy. The mood's changed, and you can feel it not just from the footage or the interviews, but from the players themselves. There's a new urgency now. Brendan Rodgers knows the clock's ticking. We've got a handful of matches before the competitive stuff kicks in, and he'll be using every minute of training and every friendly to fine-tune the side. But it's not just about formations and fitness, it's about identity. And that's where the summer really gets interesting. Celtic's identity last season was built around relentless pressure, pace out wide, technical dominance in midfield, and moments of magic in the final third. But with names like Kuhn on their way out and others like Tierney returning, we're clearly pivoting. Rodgers looks to be crafting something different this year, something a bit more balanced, maybe more robust defensively, and hopefully more ruthless in Europe. That's the one area where the bar must be raised. We were competitive last season, but if this club wants to make noise in the Champions League and not just show up, then every signing needs to reflect that ambition. And that's where the window still holds so much weight. The links to players like Jansen and Dees are fine, and they might turn out to be brilliant bits of business. But it feels like there's a door wide open for Celtic to make a proper statement signing. Someone who arrives and instantly elevates the squad. Someone the opposition fears before the whistle even goes. Kuhn had that swagger about him when he was on form. If the club are taking in significant transfer money, then part of that has to be reinvested in a way that signals our intent. We're not just building to dominate domestically, we're building to challenge on the continent. That's what supporters want to see, and that's what the badge demands. One of the exciting things about this stage of the preseason is seeing how the younger players start to integrate. Callum Osman, for example, isn't just making up the numbers. From what we've seen in training, the lad believes he belongs. And there's something refreshing about that kind of self-confidence. He's not there to sit on the bench. He wants minutes. He wants to force Rodgers into a decision. And it's that type of internal competition that drives standards across the board. The more pressure each player feels from below, the sharper they'll become. No one should feel safe, not if we're serious about competing at the highest level. And speaking of standards, let's talk about the midfield. Last season, Rio had it showed flashes of brilliance, but injuries and consistency were issues. Now fully fit, he could be one of the key figures driving us forward. Same goes for Maeda. His pace is a weapon, but this year he'll need to add a bit more end product. The return of Tierney adds not just experience, but that bit of grit we sometimes lacked when things got tough. There's a reason fans sing his name even after years away. He plays with heart, and in tight Champions League ties that matters just as much as tactics. Of course, the backline remains the most pressing concern. If you look at the number of center backs that have come and gone in the last 2 seasons, it's hard to argue that we've really nailed that position. Some were gambles that didn't pay off. Others just couldn't settle. Trusty, as mentioned, had his moments, but that position next to Carter Vickers is crying out for someone solid, someone you can trust in the trenches. Whether that ends up being D's or someone else, Rodgers knows that getting that piece right is absolutely essential. But not everything can be solved in the transfer market. The preseason's also about seeing who can step up from within. Dane Murray, for instance, has shown promise. He looked composed on Friday night, and while it's too early to say he's ready to be a week in, week out starter, it's good to know that Rodgers is giving him a look. You want a squad with options, but you also want one with stories. Seeing an academy product break through, that's part of the Celtic DNA. The challenge, as always, is turning potential into performance when it matters. One interesting dynamic to watch over the next few weeks will be how Rodgers manages the load across the squad, with some players just back from international duty and others rested since the cup final. There's a real range of fitness levels. The coaching staff have to be clever with that. It's not just about who starts in Portugal or who gets minutes against Newcastle. It's about making sure that by the time the league open arrives, we're peaking, not plateauing, managing. That balance is tricky, but it's what separates good coaching from great. And look, we've got to mention it, Kyogo leaving stings. There's no sugarcoating that. He was electric at his best, the kind of player that made you get off your seat. Seeing him in the championship with Birmingham might seem like a step down, but it could be the launch pad to something bigger. Still, for Celtic, the challenge is how you replace that kind of goal threat. The system will change, the roles will shift, but someone will have to step up. Whether it's O or a new signing, the goals have to come from somewhere. One thing we've seen from Rodgers already is that he wants to build a team that can control big matches, not just react to them. That was a hallmark of his previous stint. He wants possession with purpose, defenders who can pass under pressure, midfielders who can dictate tempo, and forwards who can finish coldly when the moment arrives. If this preseason lays the groundwork for that, then we're in for a proper season. As the players filter into Portugal, that next phase of prep begins. Training intensifies, roles become clearer, the squad starts to take real shape. That's when things go from speculative to tangible. Supporters can start projecting starting she's imagining how new signings fit in, picturing the combinations that might unlock defenses in Europe. That's the buzz of preseason. It's not just about fitness. It's about dreaming again. Back to the formidable documentary for a second, because that in a way captures the whole Celtic ethos. Yes, it was polished and positive, and maybe it did gloss over some of the tough moments. But what it did show is that this is a group that believes in itself. When McGregor spoke, you listened. When Rodgers motivated, you saw the fire. And when the players celebrated, it wasn't just joy, it was relief. Because winning isn't easy. Doing it for times in a row takes resilience. But now it's about what comes next. That's always the question. Can you go again? Can you raise it another level? Can you take that domestic dominance and finally translate it into consistent Champions League performances? The infrastructure is there. The manager knows what it takes, and the fans are ready. It's just a matter of getting those final pieces in place. Rodgers knows he's not judged on friendlies. He's judged on results, on trophies, on nights in Europe where the lights shine bright and the opposition doesn't know what hit them. These next few weeks, while quieter on the surface, might be the most important stretch of the season, because the work done now in the training ground and in the boardroom will determine whether this squad has the edge to write another memorable chapter. And with that, eyes now turn to Cork City. Another test, another chance for players to stake a claim. It might be early, but for some, these are the minutes that matter. You don't want to be catching up once the league kicks off. You want to hit the ground running. And Celtic, from what we've seen so far, are doing just that. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. In the football world, rumors always spark huge excitement, and the latest swirling talks involve a potential move between two European football giants, Real Madrid and Celtic. According to sources close to the deal, the Spanish club is reportedly considering loaning the young Brazilian talent ENDRICK to the Scottish side for the upcoming season. Although nothing has been officially confirmed yet, this potential loan has already created a buzz among fans and experts, who see this as a strategic step for the promising striker's development. ENDRICK, who has caught the attention of the football elite with his remarkable skills and maturity at such a young age, is believed to be seeking a place where he can gain valuable minutes and experience in European competitions. Real Madrid, aware of the fierce competition within their squad, appears to be evaluating the option of letting the young forward continue his growth in a competitive environment, but with less pressure than in La Liga. Celtic, known for giving young talents a chance and boasting a passionate fan base, would be the ideal destination for ENDRICK to showcase his potential and adapt to European football. While no official announcements have been made, insiders from both clubs do not rule out the deal being finalized in the coming weeks. Real Madrid's sporting management is aiming to balance the squad for the next season, while protecting their investment by ensuring the players' proper development. For Celtic, signing the Brazilian would be a major boost to their attack and could significantly improve their chances in the Scottish Premiership and European tournaments. On the other hand, questions remain about how this loan might impact ENDRICK's performance. Some analysts believe that the physical and fast-paced style of Scottish football could help the striker develop new skills, while others point out that the cultural shift and new environment might pose challenges for his adaptation. Nonetheless, Real Madrid's consideration of this option shows strong confidence in the player's ability to take on new challenges and continue growing as a professional. As the transfer window remains open, sports media and social networks are full of speculation about this possible move. Celtic fans are already dreaming about welcoming a Brazilian gem to energize their front line, while Real Madrid supporters hope that if the loan goes through, ENDRICK will return to the Spanish giants better prepared to compete for a spot in one of the world's most prestigious teams. For now, it's all just speculation, but this rumor certainly adds an exciting twist to the build-up to the next European football season. Hello, fan! Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.